I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hi, I'm Luke Ryan for JoBlo.com and welcome to Movie Endings Explained, where we'll be taking a look at some of the more ambiguous and discussed movie endings that have left audiences debating their true meaning long after the credits have rolled. For this installment, we're going to delve into the 1990s sci-fi movie Total Recall, starring the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Paul Verhoeven of Showgirls fame, from a script penned by the creators of Alien and based on the short story We Can Remember It For You Wholesale by Philip K. Dick. What resulted was a sci-fi classic that won an Academy Award for its excellent special effects and is now viewed as a masterpiece mix of violence-filled action fun and thought-provoking science fiction complexity. The movie follows the same kind of beginning as the short story, but has a very different conclusion and, being a feature-length movie, is obviously a lot more fleshed out, along with an obvious tailoring to the one-liner action style that Arnold Schwarzenegger was so synonymous with at that point in his career.
What you been feeding this thing?
Blondes.
The film is set in 2084 and follows construction worker Douglas Quaid, who is happily married but longs to go to Mars after having exotic dreams about being there with a mysterious woman. He learns about a facility called Recall, which gives you memory implants of fictional holidays with the promise of the trip totally emulating reality. Quaid eagerly signs up for a deluxe secret agent fantasy package, but before he gets implanted with the fake memory, Quaid starts freaking out, suppressed memories of him actually being a secret agent slowly coming back into his mind. Instantly thrust into a plot to take his life from unknown assailants, Quaid needs to get his ass to Mars for real and goes on a wild adventure where he beats the bad guys, gets the girl, and saves the world. In that broad sense, the film is very clear-cut. Quaid is actually a former secret agent known as Hauser, whose past had been obscured from him, and he returns to Mars to complete unfinished business. But it all seems quite convenient, doesn't it? When he gets sedated at Recall, he wakes up in a berserker-like rage, and the staff explain to their boss it's not a side effect of the fake memory.
He's just acting out the secret agent portion of his ego trip.
I'm afraid that's not possible.
Why not?
Because we haven't implanted it yet.
But could it be that the moment that Quaid goes under at Recall, at just 18 minutes into the movie, is the last time we ever see reality? And that the freak out at the machine is merely the beginning of the hyper-realistic ego trip that Recall promised Quaid? There's lots of clues to point towards this. First of all, when Quaid is being sold the package, the manager at Recall lays out the premise of the secret agent trip.
I don't want to spoil it for you, Doug. But you rest assured, by the time the trip is over, you get the girl, kill the bad guys, and save the entire planet. Now you tell me, isn't that worth a measly 300 credits?
Now he just laid out the rest of the movie, including the climax, and how convenient is that? Plus, when Quaid is being asked about his preference for the woman he'll meet on his trip, the computer readout shows the exact likeness of Melina, the woman he later meets, on the screen. We even see a selection of ancient alien artifacts on screen, the last one looking exactly like the structure we see on Mars at the end of the film. Melina is an interesting point in all of this because she also appears in the very first scene of the movie, Quaid's dream about Mars. If the whole secret agent plot really is reality, then it makes complete sense that he's still dreaming about his former girlfriend, lost in the muddled memories of his brain. Yet why does she appear on that screen? At the point that we see her, Quaid is already falling under the influence of the sedatives, so it's possible that he's projecting Melina's likeness onto the image of the woman as he slips out of consciousness. Otherwise, it doesn't really make much sense. There are also scenes in the film without Quaid in them which don't make sense as part of the ego trip memory package, and if they were part of it, and Quaid was somehow viewing them, he'd know too much about what was going on. So it makes sense that this isn't the ego trip because it's not something he would be experiencing as part of that. Or it could just simply be that these are the scenes that are there to make the movie work better and to give us the audience the motivations of the antagonist of the story. So maybe it is just all one big coincidence and Quaid really is Hauser and all of the events of the movie take place in the reality of the story we're seeing. Well, not quite. The single biggest clue of the entire movie is right before Quaid goes under at Recall. The lead memory programmer hands a chip to her assistant technician and he says this.
Ernie,
That's a new one. Blue sky on Mars.
been married long?
That's a new one. Blue sky on Mars.
Been married long?
It's a very fleeting moment of dialogue that's cut off at the end by the woman's voice. It's not meant to be an obvious line that we're meant to think is all that important. The line happens off screen while we're focusing on a close-up of another action. It blends in with the scene and, like a fictional memory implant, slips through our consciousness without us realizing it's there, at least at first. Blue sky on Mars, that's a new one. Well, again, that's another prediction of the ending of the movie, with Quaid activating the ancient alien technology to instantly terraform Mars, giving them breathable air and the aforementioned blue sky. Surely the only way to view the movie if the sky is blue at the end is as a dream. The evidence for far outweighs the evidence against. If it really all is a sophisticated ego trip artifice, why did Quaid dream of Melina beforehand? Unless the woman programmed into the implant is shaped by the recipient's own subconscious. You can go back and forth with all the details in this movie about whether it's a dream or reality, and one theory is that the movie is both reality and a dream at the same time, not unlike the Schrodinger's cat theory, which proposes that if you place a cat inside a closed box with a radioactive atom that could either decay or emit radiation, the cat remains both alive and dead until the box is opened and the state of the cat is observed.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
No, I'm telling you, Doug, your brain will not know the difference.
Which to me seems a little too close to the whole tree falling with no one to hear it thing, but the key placed on observation, and what is movie watching if it isn't observation? The director of the film, Paul Verhoeven, actually commented on the ending of Total Recall very recently, and here's what he had to say. Total Recall doesn't say whether it's reality or it is a dream, you know? It's really saying there's this reality and there's that reality, and both exist at the same time. Because you look at Total Recall, there is never a preference, let's say, taken by me or the scriptwriter, to say this is really what he dreams about and this is the truth. I wanted it to be that way because I felt it was postmodern. I felt that basically I should not say this is true and this not true. We worked very hard to make both consistent and that both would be true. And I think we succeeded very well. So I think of course there is no solution. It was innovative in movie language at least to a certain degree that there would be two realities and there is no choice. So very much in line with the Schrodinger's cat theory, the answer is that Total Recall is in fact both reality and a dream. And if that's too much to wrap your head around, or you think it's a bullshit explanation, you can simply enjoy whichever answer gives you the most enjoyment out of the film. Thank you for watching, and please let us know how you feel about the ending of Total Recall. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
See you at the party, Richter!